One chance robbers caught in rivers. 5 lessons from the latest arrest. Background. Suspected one-chance robbery operators have reportedly been apprehended by security operatives in Rivers State. The development is significant because one-chance robbery, where criminals allegedly pose as commercial transport operators or passengers before attacking victims, remains a serious public safety concern in Nigerian cities. However, because the available report provides no specific date, location, names of the suspects, number of arrests or details of the operation, those facts should not be invented. The suspects should also be regarded as alleged offenders until properly prosecuted and convicted. 5 things to learn. 1. Security intervention can prevent bigger crimes. If the suspects were indeed preparing to rob passengers, their arrest could have prevented further attacks and potentially saved lives. 2. The identity and method of the suspects matter. Authorities should establish exactly how the alleged operators targeted victims, where they operated and whether they were connected to previous robbery cases. 3. Arrest is not the same as conviction. Being apprehended does not automatically mean someone is guilty. A proper investigation and prosecution must establish the facts and allow the suspects to defend themselves. 4. Intelligence is critical in fighting one-chance robbery. Security agencies need effective intelligence gathering, surveillance and cooperation with transport operators and communities to identify suspicious vehicles and criminal networks. 5. Passengers must remain security conscious. The public should be cautious about entering unfamiliar vehicles, particularly when the circumstances appear suspicious. Reporting suspicious activity quickly can also help security agencies intervene before a crime occurs. Akahi News Analysis. The reported arrest is potentially good news for Rivers State, but the bigger question is what happens next. Will investigators discover that these suspects are connected to other robbery cases? How many victims may have been targeted, and how did security operatives identify them? The real success will not simply be the arrest. It will be proper investigation, prosecution where evidence supports it, dismantling any wider criminal network and making Rivers State safer for ordinary passengers.
Chief, where they do that kind of nonsense? They gather with you. You are a criminal. Come and close your mouth there. They do and steady. They do and steady. Now God catch you not today. Where did they cover your face for? Come on your face there. Where your face? That's what they do. That's what they do. Come on. No, they never beat them all. See that woman? What happened to her? It's okay. Come on, they're going to be for God bless and I will catch them. God bless and I will catch them.
3 cows dead in Plateau, poisoning or something else. 5 lessons from the Rayom incident. Background. Tension could have escalated in Joel, Rayom local government area of Plateau State, after 3 cows belonging to Alhaji Yusuf reportedly died after grazing on a substance suspected to be poisonous in the early hours of Saturday, August 22, 2026. Troops of Sector 6, Operation Enduring Peace, deployed at Doku, responded to the report and found the dead cattle. However, the actual cause of death has not yet been established, and an investigation is underway. 5 things to learn. 1. An allegation must not become a conclusion. The cattle reportedly died after grazing on a suspected poisonous substance, but nobody has established what killed them. Calling it deliberate poisoning without evidence could dangerously inflame tensions. 2. The location makes the incident sensitive. Rayon is an area where disputes involving communities, farmers and herders can quickly become security concerns. A relatively small incident involving 3 cows could therefore develop into something much bigger if handled irresponsibly. 3. The military's quick response matters. The intervention by Operation Enduring Peace was important because the immediate priority should be preventing retaliation while establishing the facts. Their engagement with stakeholders is therefore a sensible preventive measure. 4. Investigation is more important than speculation. The crucial questions remain. What substance did the cattle consume? Where did it come from? Was it deliberately placed there or accidentally encountered? And who, if anyone, was responsible? Scientific examination and proper investigation should answer these questions. 5. Community leaders have a major responsibility. Alhaji Yusuf and other affected stakeholders understandably need answers, but the wider community must resist revenge or accusations before the investigation is completed. Compensation, dialogue and lawful investigation are preferable to confrontation. Akahi News Analysis. The death of 3 cows may appear to be a minor incident, but in a sensitive environment, it can become the spark for a much larger conflict. The biggest lesson is simple: establish the facts before assigning blame. If poisoning is eventually confirmed, those responsible should face the law. But until then, restraint, investigation and dialogue are the best weapons for preventing 3 dead cows from becoming a human tragedy. Peller's Babalawo drama, the viral allegation that raises 5 big questions. Background. A viral TikTok video has sparked discussion after a man allegedly claiming to be the spiritualist who helped Peller become wealthy accused the content creator of failing to return after allegedly seeking his spiritual assistance more than 3 years ago. The man reportedly demanded that Peller return to, renew, and pay homage to the Babalawo. However, these are allegations from a viral video, not established facts. There is no independent evidence presented here confirming that Peller actually visited the man, received spiritual assistance, or became wealthy because of him. 5 things to learn. 1. A viral allegation is not automatically the truth. The biggest lesson is the need to separate claims from evidence. The man may genuinely believe what he is saying, but without corroboration, the public should not treat the allegation as established fact. 2. Fame attracts unexpected claims. As Peller's popularity has grown, stories about his past, success and relationships can attract enormous attention. Public figures must understand that increased visibility also brings allegations that can spread rapidly online. 3. The 3-year claim raises questions. If the allegation is that Peller sought help more than 3 years ago and was expected to return for renewal, an important question is, was there ever an actual agreement, and what evidence exists to support it? 4. Social media can turn private disputes into public trials. Instead of resolving the matter privately, the allegation has entered TikTok and potentially reached millions of people. This demonstrates how social media can transform a personal disagreement into a major public controversy almost instantly. 5. Don't confuse coincidence with causation. Perhaps the most important lesson is about claims surrounding wealth and success. Even if Peller visited a Babalawo, that alone would not prove that his subsequent success was caused by spiritual intervention. His work, content, business decisions, opportunities, and audience growth must also be considered. Akai News Analysis. The interesting question is not simply, did Peller do juju? The more responsible question is, what evidence supports this man's allegation, and why is he making the claim now? Until Peller responds or credible evidence emerges, the allegation should remain exactly that, an allegation, not a proven fact.
Peller! I did you for you make you blow. I remember that you got my shrine, I called it beg, they cry for ground. Says that I do have my mind now for you to blow back 3 years now. You don't blow now, you can't forget me. Baba tó mọ nǹkan tó ń ṣe. Tí bá bínú sí ẹ Peller, Ọlọ́run, oníròó mọ́. Come and do the right thing, oh. Come and do the right thing. Yes, come and do the right thing. Or else, you're not going to rain again.
101-year-old arrested over cannabis. What the NDLEA operation really reveals. Background. The NDLEA has reported a wide-ranging crackdown on illicit drugs across Nigeria between August 15 and 22, 2026, involving arrests, seizures, and destruction of cannabis farms. The most striking case is that of 101-year-old Esther Ogunmabo, arrested at Ilisan, Ogun State, with 90 grams of cannabis allegedly for retail sale. Meanwhile, officers intercepted cocaine hidden inside fufu, seized more than 1.49 tons of Thai-loud cannabis in Lagos ports, and recovered thousands of tramadol capsules. Beyond the shocking headlines, these operations expose both the scale of Nigeria's drug problem and the difficult balance between punishment, rehabilitation, and prevention. 5 things to learn. 1. Age does not automatically remove someone from accountability. Esther Ogunmabo's age makes the arrest extraordinary, but the allegation itself cannot simply be ignored because she is 101. According to the report, she admitted selling cannabis after her provisions shop was destroyed by fire. However, NDLEA Chairman Brig. Gen. Mohammed Bubamawa's decision to grant her bail and recommend counseling is important. It demonstrates that drug control does not necessarily have to mean treating every suspect identically. Her daughter, who was allegedly supplying the cannabis, was also arrested. Lesson: justice must be firm, but circumstances and vulnerability should matter. 2. Drug trafficking is becoming increasingly sophisticated. The discovery of 20 grams of cocaine concealed inside cassava fufu is a reminder that traffickers constantly develop new methods of hiding drugs. The Akwa Ibom interception reportedly involved a wooden boat heading towards fishing settlements in Cameroon. This suggests that Nigeria's drug problem is not confined to roads and urban centers. Maritime routes and remote communities can also become trafficking corridors. Lesson: effective enforcement requires intelligence, technology, and cooperation across land, air, and maritime borders. 3. The billions involved show why drug trafficking remains attractive. The seizure of Thai-loud cannabis from containers at Apapa and Lekki ports in Lagos, with a combined street value reportedly exceeding 4.4 billion nairas, is perhaps the most economically significant part of the operation. The containers were allegedly disguised as legitimate imports containing items such as dry fish, rice, spare parts, turmeric soap, and inverter batteries. This raises a serious question: how many similar consignments are successfully getting through Nigerian ports? The NDLEA deserves credit for the interception, but the bigger challenge is preventing traffickers from exploiting legitimate international trade channels in the first place. Lesson: A major seizure is a success, but it also reveals how much money and organization exist behind the illegal drug market. 4. Enforcement alone cannot solve Nigeria's drug crisis. The operations covered Ogun, Akwa Ibom, Lagos, FCT, Niger, Ondo, Kwara, Oyo, Kano and Abia, involving cannabis, cocaine, methamphetamine, tramadol and other controlled substances. But the NDLEA is also conducting war against drug abuse, WADA, campaigns in schools, churches, workplaces and communities. That balance is essential. Arresting traffickers removes some drugs from circulation, but prevention, rehabilitation, counseling and public education address the demand that keeps the market alive. Lesson: the strongest drug control strategy must combine enforcement with prevention and rehabilitation. 5. The real test is what happens after the headlines. The NDLEA has demonstrated that it can make significant seizures and arrests. But successful drug control should not be measured only by the number of kilograms seized or suspects arrested. The bigger questions are trafficking networks being dismantled? Are major financiers being identified? Are vulnerable users receiving rehabilitation? Are young people being prevented from entering the drug trade? And are Nigeria's ports and borders becoming harder for traffickers to exploit? The 101-year-old woman's case also raises a wider social question. If a woman of that age could become involved in retail drug dealing following the destruction of her livelihood, what economic and social vulnerabilities are being exploited by drug networks? Final assessment. The NDLEA's latest operations are a significant enforcement success, particularly the interception of cocaine, tramadol and more than a ton of imported cannabis. But they should also be viewed as a warning. Nigeria does not merely have a drug seizure problem, it has a drug market problem. The supply networks, financial incentives, vulnerable communities and demand that sustain the market must be attacked alongside the drugs themselves. The arrest of a 101-year-old woman may be the most shocking headline, but the 4.4 billion naira's drug consignments and sophisticated trafficking routes reveal the much bigger story.